Yo, what's good, y'all? It's JV, one half of the J&J podcast. I'm here with Vic. Y'all know him. He's been on the show before. Today, we are doing a post March Madness NBA mock draft, lottery only, of course. Um, but shout out to Vic for showing up. If you want to say anything to the stream real quick, you could say it now.
How you doing, everybody? Yeah, I've been here before. If you guys don't recognize me, completely fine. But yeah, man, this is I love listening to this pod every now and then, and yeah, man, I mean, great analysis here. So hopefully, we provide you with that today.
Now, yeah, this we had to get done because throughout the entire March Madness, people don't know this, but me and Vic text like every single
Oh yeah,
game, and I'm like, yo, I actually look forward to the games just to be like, yo, look what the fuck's going on, look at this. So it's like for a mock draft and stuff like this, this is the first guy that I want to have on. Like, so hopefully this goes very well, and then we can have more people on after. But Vic is like the first guy I go to when it comes to like draft shit in high school, college shit. So it's like this is dope. But all right, the last video I did a mock by myself, and it went the way it did. I think this time I'm gonna sim the lottery, and then we're just gonna go from there. And then I guess we could just, since you're the guest, I'll let you have first pick, and we already know who that's gonna be. And then from then on, we'll just go. I get second pick, you get third pick, and we just talk about it from there. But
okay,
I think simming the lottery is gonna be fun because we might get some weird shit, and
yeah,
then we'll have a crazy discussion.
yeah. I honestly can't wait for the draft lottery too. That's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be
Yeah.
like a mess.
All right, so I did the first. I think we could rock with this one.
Really?
So Philly jumps up to 3, Utah goes to 1, Phoenix goes to, I mean, Houston goes to 2 from Phoenix. Washington drops back to 5.
Yeah, poor Wizards.
Yo, this is funny as fuck.
That's like
Damn.
the Pistons. Remember the Pistons when they were like the worst record for like 2 years
Yeah.
and got the fifth pick?
We could rock with this one because we'll have some good conversations with this shit.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be really
Yeah,
interesting now.
'cause now this would throw off the whole shit. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, it's gonna throw off some stuff. I'm already
yeah, this is
looking.
gonna throw off the whole shit. I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna do fans or consensus. Um, nah, yeah, this shit gonna be funny. So obviously, Vic, you got the number one pick. Waiting for this shit to load real quick, but
So do
Utah
that.
Jazz are on the clock with the number one pick. Vic, I don't even think I gotta say anything.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, unfortunately, I like watching all college teams. Justin's a much bigger Duke fan than me, even though I do like watching Duke. So very sorry about your loss, man. But I think one thing that was solidified was that guy right there, Cooper Flag. Determining his draft value.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we got Cooper Flag, no brainer, going to the Utah Jazz. I actually like. I actually don't mind this fit for him. I know a lot of people have been making the rounds lately saying that they would love to see him in Washington, which I
Yeah.
actually think is good too. But now I feel like since everybody else is on that type of wave too, I just feel like the draft guys are gonna be like, nah, we're not gonna let that shit happen. So this is where it gets interesting now, because now we have the second pick and it belongs to the Houston Rockets.
Yes. Via the Phoenix Suns. Thank you
Yeah,
for that.
via the Suns. Yeah, the fucking garbage ass Suns. Like, thank you.
Yeah, they
Um,
should they should have the second pick, but
yeah. I mean, for me, I mean, actually, nah, this ain't even that hard, but it's just kind of surprising that they jumped up this quick. Um, Second overall pick, Houston Rockets. I'm gonna go with Dylan Harper here, just because Fred Van Vliet, older veteran guard. His time there. I think it's like slowly coming to an end. If they want to keep him there, it's cool. But
They
I
have the
think just
team option.
yeah, they have a team option. But I feel like just having Dylan Harper there, because one, he's the best player available, and two, he's a point guard. Something that they don't really have. I know Amen Thompson, people like to throw out that point guard shit, but he's really like he's kind of like a point forward, but I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, he's our point guard of the future. I'm not thinking like that.
Oh
He
yeah,
is our
absolutely.
wing player who could handle the ball and could play make a little bit, but I'm not giving him the point guard task and labeling that on him. I think having Dylan Harper, somebody who I think could succeed in the NBA. He's one guy that I'm 100% confident he's going to succeed in this league. To
Yeah,
pair him with Amen Thompson and all the pieces that they got in Houston, Jabari, Jalen Green, Shangoon, Tari, like I think that is a good guy that you would want to have to run the show.
yeah.
Only thing that sucks is poor Reed Shepard.
Oh
He
yeah.
may never see the court.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this. That is the one thing is, Reed Shepard. And if that's the case, I just think he needs a change of scenery because he's really young and I still think he has a lot of time. I can't believe I'm saying this, but, this scenario here for Harper and Houston with Amon Thompson, it kind of reminds me a little bit of what we're seeing just a little bit now with the Clippers with James Harden and Ben Simmons, where Ben Simmons is a guy that can take point guard duties, but especially when he's on the court with James Harden, you see him a little bit more. You know what I mean? In the post, trying to, bully defenders and whatnot. James Harden gets off the court, he's immediately handling point guard duties and whatnot. That's what I see when I think than Thompson. And I do agree with that. Like I think, especially they got to look forward to the future. We'll see if they get if they're in the KD discussion. But that right there, Dylan Harper, that could be because the Rockets are they're going like this, right? They're just going up and
Yeah.
up. So I think Dylan Harper is the perfect fit there.
All right. Third overall pick belongs to the Philadelphia 76ers. Vic. This is actually a discussion now. We have a little
Yeah,
discussion about what
now
could happen here.
yeah, now I mean, I think the first two picks went according to plan, right?
Yeah.
Probably on the vast majority of draft boards. I'm gonna have to throw this off a little bit simply because of the fit here. And Justin knows how I feel about this player. But if I'm the Philadelphia set, yeah, he's laughing right because he already knows. If I'm the if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers right now, I'm desperate to make the playoffs. I need something now. I need as much scoring as I can, as much defense as I can. I mean, this guy isn't necessarily a defender, but especially because Quentin Grimes is going to be a free agent. I basically just gave it away there. I'm picking Trey Johnson if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers. I think
Woo!
Tyrese Maxey, Trey Johnson there. I love Quentin Grimes, and I mean, former Nick, obviously, me and Justin know about that. But Quentin Grimes, yes, he's somebody I would love to keep. But if you could get somebody like Trey Johnson, who would be better than Quentin Grimes, at least on the scoring end. You could let Quentin Grimes walk. There's plenty of teams that could use him, and I'm sure he'll get paid. So I think that would be a great replacement there, and that's somebody that you could keep in the long term and have a really nice backcourt with him, Tyrese Maxey, and Jared McCain. Perhaps maybe you know McCain or Johnson off the bench, you could figure that out. I mean, Johnson's a guy I look at, and I also see a lot of like six man potential in him. Right, could be one of the better six men in the league too. So, but I mean, that's essentially what Philly needs, right? They're also going to need that depth if they want to keep Joel Embiid, and they're stuck with Paul George. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's my pick there, Trey Johnson.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit surprised, but Philly's kind of like a weird team to like give them who they want because they're kind of stuck in between two eras. Like, if you want to win in the Embiid era, it's like for me, I would go with a guy like VJ Edgecombe. But if you're thinking about more of the future, a guy like Ace Bailey is somebody I look towards. Somebody like Trey Johnson as well. So it's like they're kind of stuck. I've seen some people flirt with the take Malawach to Philly just so you have Embiid insurance and you could have him for the future. So I've seen it go a bunch of different ways. Um, but the Trey Johnson one is not bad, especially if you're thinking about the future of Philly, like the post Embiid era, because you already know Tyrese Maxey solidified, Jared McCain. We saw what he was able to do before he got hurt. I really like, and I said it like after the draft last year, the fact that Justin Edwards went undrafted was fucking insane. He was a guy who was I think he was the number 3 high school player, and he went undrafted completely after having an up and down year at Kentucky. But a guy who's that high on in the high school rankings, I would have taken a chance on him way earlier. So that's a shout out to Daryl Morey for finding that talent. But Trey Johnson, he's the guy that me and you both like. I don't know for sure if he was the number one scorer in the SEC, but I think he was averaging 19, basically 20 points a game as a freshman in the hardest conference in college basketball. So, and me and you, we both seen the film, what he's been able to do um, on the ball, a little bit off the ball. What I really like a little bit too is some of the playmaking upside that he has. So if he could tap into that, I think the future is really bright for him. So we got Trey Johnson going to Philly. Now it's my pick. Brooklyn Nets, fourth overall. Um, I'm not gonna lie. Actually, this ain't even that hard. I think fourth overall, Brooklyn Nets. I know a lot of people have been down on him lately, but I think the talk has been a little bit crazy on him, on his name. But I'm gonna take Ace Bailey here with the fourth pick. Um, it's like some like people want to shit on him a lot now, but like you watch the tape and the talent is undeniable. And with a coach like Jordy Fernandez, he's been doing a great job. Um, I think he could put him in the direction to like just simplify the game. I think that's something he needs. Too many people kind of worry about the negatives, but there's a lot of shit in his game where it's like, yo, you cannot teach that at all. Six
Oh,
ten, could shoot over people, fucking
yeah.
shooting over two people. I think what it's gonna take for him is like a coach being in his ear to simplify the game for him, just break shit down, and it's gonna take that type of discipline and learning good habits. You can't let him learn bad habits. That's why I wouldn't want Ace Bailey in like a Charlotte or something. I would want him
Yeah.
to learn some good habits and then just build off of that because as much as the bad stuff is there, there's a lot of good things too. And I've been saying it. He is the most polarizing player in this draft class. But to me, I don't see him as like if it doesn't work out, he's just a complete bust and he's out the NBA. If he's worst case scenario to me for him, he's like Michael Porter Jr. probably. But like
Yeah.
best case is like holy shit, like we have a top scorer now in the league. And some of the stuff he's been able to do defensively as like an off ball guy, he's shown some of the flashes. If you could get him to buy in defensively as an on ball guy too, that could be really scary. And he could be the first building block for this Nets era going forward. And I like this pick for them too. So
Yeah, absolutely. Ace Bailey, I did hear one person who was a big critic of him and like dropped him all the way to the sixth pick, talking about like he reminds them of Patrick Williams, and I said, okay,
that's
relax
crazy.
now,
That is
okay,
crazy.
relax now. I mean, look, respectfully, I do think there are a lot of things that Ace Bailey obviously has to work on. But look, he's a 19-year-old kid. I'm one of the first, people that will say like I have the mentality. So like Reed Shepard, for example, I'm not giving up or quitting on him yet. The Rockets have a ton of guards, and he's not the only guy that's come. I mean, it seems like it's. I don't want to say an epidemic, but like it seems like it's this common trend where all of these rookies, even rookies that shoot good, not all of them, but a good portion of them that have a high usage rating, they shoot the 3 pointer like 30%, right? I don't know if you've noticed that. A lot of the younger players their first couple of years and then they start to get better and better. That's why I see with Reed Shepard. I kind of see the same thing with Ace Bailey where, you talked about the Hornets. I couldn't agree more. I do think the Hornets in the offseason should try to hire a guy like maybe Taylor Jenkins and that can help out LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, that whole organization a lot, right? Somebody like him, perhaps, but point is, I think Ace Bailey, especially on a team like this with the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets right now, respectfully, I mean, I really don't know what direction they're going. I felt like, I don't know why Cam Johnson's still on that team. They can get so many assets for him. There's so many teams that can use him right now. So I like this pick a lot for him. I'd prefer him if the draft lottery falls that way. I'd prefer him more in Utah. I just like that fit a lot more for him. But I also think if I had to pick a second team for East Bailey, it would be the Brooklyn Nets. And as you said, Justin, I'm really not too worried about the criticisms for East Bailey. I'm going to be is a lot more patient with him than probably most people will be.
Nah, yeah. I'm hoping the best for him too. I hope he could shut a lot of people up because now it's like people are talking too crazy about him, and it's like okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So the next pick we have the Washington Wizards falling to the fifth pick. This would be a fucking nightmare for them. Um, I think this
Yeah.
is your pick now. So
Wow. Yeah. Um, okay. So on the Washington Wizards here, I'm gonna pick VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor.
okay,
I'm gonna pick
VJ
VJ
Edgecombe.
out of Baylor. I think when you look at this team, for example, right? I mean, I really like Alex Sarr a lot, and I think the center position is kind of solidified there. I kind of just like all of their young pieces. They got the um, one of the executives from the Clippers. I forget his name, but he kind of like he helped execute the Shea Gilgis Alexander trade and whatnot. So it seems like he really knows what he's doing there because even with Bob Carrington, right, who I think was like the 13th overall pick, he's starting to find his way, showing a lot of potential to be a future point guard for this team. And I'm going to be honest with you, Justin. I feel like it seems like everybody's kind of hopping on it now because the Wizards have had a really good March. But I've even said before March, in my personal opinion, just looking at this team, looking at Bilal Coulibaly and Alex Sarr, and just the way that this team is constructed, I was like, I think this is a perfect team for Cooper Flag. Just Coulibaly and Sarr themselves, right? Obviously, the two
Yeah,
French, they love playing defense. They are also two really good defenders, right? We all know Cooper Flag loves to play defense as well. Is a really good defensive player. Bob Carrington is a 6'4" guard who he's more of a scorer. Somebody who can shoot the ball from all three levels and whatnot. But I just think that's a better fit for him. But when it comes to VJ Edgecombe, I think this is a guy who, a lot of people are very enamored with his athleticism, and I think that can be very useful too. But part of the way he uses his athleticism is with his defense, right? And that's what everybody is so enamored with is that defense and athleticism here. So I think this is also a good fit because you already have the ball handlers, like I said, with Bilal not the lawful about Bob Carrington and what do you call it? AJ Johnson as well. And they
yeah,
have a few veteran guards back there that they could get. VJ's a guy that can absolutely handle the ball and can score, but he's somebody that you expect a little bit more to be active on defense and get them in transition. And I think for a young team like this, especially with guys like Koulibaly and Sarr, who might they're great players, but they might not have the athleticism as Edgecombe. This is somebody I feel like who could be a great spark plug for this team, a great catalyst for this team. Essentially, I wouldn't ever expect him to be their best scorer or player, but I could be wrong there as well. So yeah, I think this would be a gift if VJ Edgecombe made it this far, and hopefully the Wizards don't drop the fifth, but if they did, hopefully they'd be in this scenario because I think it'd be really good.
yeah. I feel like VJ on the Wizards. It's actually not bad at all because especially defensively, you see the potential what it could be. That'll be a nightmare wing tandem with Koulibaly and VJ Edgecombe. That'll be nightmare for guards. And then you have Alex Saw on the back line. And like you said, Bob Carrington, he was one of my guys in the draft last year. Wrote it down. I'm like, yo, there's no way this guy fails in the NBA. and he's been proving me right. Down the stretch, he's been playing real well, like what he's been able to do, and I think he could get better, especially on the defensive side of the basketball. So I like that upside in him. And then AJ Johnson, what they got back in that Milwaukee trade, I think that kid he's gonna show some flashes in Washington. I think this is actually a better situation for him because when the Bucks picked him, I was like, nah, man, this ain't it. I don't
Yeah,
like this pick at all. And it wasn't on him as a player; it was just the fit in Milwaukee. But now him going to Washington, it's a better fit for him. He's gonna be around younger guys. He gets to grow his game, so I like that for him. So VJ to the Wizards is just gonna add more defensive intensity, more athleticism, and it's gonna be that wing tandem is gonna be fucking scary going forward.
I just want to say to that point, like with the Bucks, right? They that was a perfect scenario to show why when you're a contending team like that, you know, the idea is not to get a raw prospect, right? The idea is to get somebody who is ready now, not somebody who you have to wait to establish. I mean, that's kind of how, especially in the NBA, you deter a lot of these guys' career, right? I mean, it's the end of their rookie contract and they barely played, and now they have to go somewhere else to try to prove themselves. So, yeah, I didn't like that at all for the Bucks. I thought they should have gotten Ryan Dunn, and you see what he's done in Phoenix, and probably
Yeah,
would be very helpful for them. But yeah, I like that a lot.
yeah. The next pick, I believe this is what six overall pick. This
Yes.
is the Charlotte Hornets. This is kind of actually nah. I thought nah, this ain't bad. Six overall pick. This is where my head is at right now. I mean, I know a lot of people. They're like, all right, LaMelo Ball, he may get traded this offseason or he may not, whatever. I think they should give him maybe another year. Brandon Miller was hurt too. Um, I think I'm going to go with Kaman Malawach just off the fact that you try to trade Mark Williams and it got rescinded. So I don't know how that relationship is going to be in the summer. But now you get another Duke center that LaMelo Ball could have as a lob threat, and the defense is going to be way better than Mark Williams. So at least if I don't know how many people view Malawach's offensive potential or upside, but at the very minimum, he could be an all defensive caliber type of center, as well as a lob threat. He has good touch around the rim, very patient. So that's another weapon that the Charlotte Hornets could have. And whether they decide to get rid of Mark Williams or dump him off or something, we'll see. But I think Malawach for them that'll be a good pick for them. So I'm gonna go with him here. That would be nice for them actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I would have gone Malawash. Probably, to be honest, only because of what you said with Mark Williams, and I feel like I don't know if the Lakers would do that trade again with Dalton Connect. I probably would still try to explore that because I felt like Dalton Connect was the guy that the Hornets should have picked over to John Salon, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
respectfully. And I still think Salon can, has some time to figure things out. But I just think with where the Hornets are now, the fit, that would have been perfect. So I feel like maybe they should readdress that. And I feel like Maluwach, uh, as a defensive anchor would be perfect. I mean, he is still, very raw and new to the game, but I think especially with a guy like Lamelo, right? You said it before. That'd be a very lethal lob threat, especially once you have the spacing from Brandon Miller and the other shooters they have there. So yeah, I like that pick.
Yeah. All right. So the next pick we have seventh overall pick to the New Orleans Pelicans. I feel like nobody want to go here, yo. This is like the most confusing team to pick for.
Oh my gosh, yeah, this is like, because this is a team where I feel like there's so many things that could happen. I feel like, in my personal opinion, in reality, if they fall, like if they get the second pick, for example, or like the third pick, I feel like they should maybe explore options to trade Zion because I feel like somebody would, what I mean, give up a lot to try to get him. And what do you call it? They could pick like third and maybe, still picking the lottery if a team got their pick. But right now, based on, what I'm looking at with this team, assuming that, Zion is still a part of the future. Um, I'm probably gonna go with this. Might be a little bit surprising here, um, because I know. Oh man, nah, yeah. You know what? I'll be patient because I was just saying I don't know if they're gonna trade Dejounte Murray or not, so I won't say anything. That might give you a hint on who I was gonna pick, but in this one, I'll probably pick because, in my opinion, I like Eve Misi, but you know I'll pick Derek Queen, but I also am a little bit worried that if I pick him, it could clog up the court a little bit with him and Zion. But I'm looking at this team, and I'm looking at Herb Jones and Trey Murphy and C.J. McCollum, and they have a lot of spacing and shooting there. So I feel like if you got a little bit of bully ball there with Zion Williamson and Derek Queen, who reminds me a lot of Zach Randolph. Um, what do you call? I like that. So yeah, I'll
So
pick Derek.
you're gonna pick Derek Queen.
Yes,
Derek Queen to the New
and
Orleans
Justin Mills.
Pelicans.
This is one of the players. March Madness. I was like raving about.
Yeah, I like his game a lot. Only thing I'm scared of with him, I mean, I think it's just this fit. The Pelicans are like the weirdest team to
They
draft
are.
for because
They
it's
really
like they
are.
have everything and they still suck.
Yeah,
So
I think a lot of it is injuries. I mean, they
yeah,
traded away Brandon Ingram. He went to Toronto and didn't play a game, right? And then McCollum got hurt.
yeah, because they
DeJounte
have
started the season hurt.
yeah, you have two guards in Murray and McCollum. You have good wings with Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Jordan Hawkins. Even though Hawkins is having a slump, but I still believe in him. You still have Zion, and then Eves Misi, who's had a pretty he's had a good rookie year. So it's like every position is like they have somebody. Derek Queen, and this fit in particular is going to be like, how is he going to play next to Zion? I had to imagine that they would stagger these minutes. I feel like he would see a lot of minutes with Misi because it could. I feel like they could play together. It would be a lot of like 1-2. Um, I know people see the 1.9 assists, but I think the playmaking is a little bit better than that, especially with NBA spacing and stuff like that. I think he could play alongside a lob finishing big, and that could work well for him. And
Especially if he can, because I have more faith that he could be a solid 3-point shooter. Unlike,
yeah, the shot doesn't look bad at all.
yeah,
So it's just gonna come down to like repetition and stuff like that, and just getting that confidence. This is
yeah,
just such a weird.
it is.
It's such a weird. I feel
I
like
don't know if he
anybody
could guard
here. This is
because
a weird. Like even if we took Coop here, I'd be like, shit. Like
yeah, because
I think the only
because my
person.
personal opinion is what I think is going to happen. Right,
Yeah,
I feel like they're probably if they don't trade Zion, what do you call before the season starts? Which I don't know how that's going to go. I think that depends on draft position, all of that offers they
yeah,
get. But if they don't do it, I think they're going to wait to see how the season goes because if their guys are healthy and they're not having a good season, then I think they're going to start to look to make trades with their guards and whatnot. Because I look at this and I'm like, this is a team where I feel like, you know, respectfully, screw CJ and DeJounte respectfully. I'd like to put Dylan Harper with Zion Williamson. I think that'd be crazy, but
I think
you
this
know,
is the best Dylan Harper.
right?
Like
Yeah, like
yeah,
there's just so many, because I feel like something inevitable is going to happen with trades and whatnot throughout the entire lottery. This whole episode, I promise you, this is probably going to be the weirdest team to actually
Yeah.
analyze because, as you said, like, and we've seen that this team has been successful before. Going to the playoffs and making a small little run, right? So it's like we know that they can make it there and they're good enough to do it. But obviously, everybody and their mom got hurt, so it's like we'll see what happens, but I don't know. So, because I want Derek Queen on another team. I don't really like this team for him, but I don't know who else to pick. I mean, I'd say Knipple, but you have Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. How much is Knipple going to play, right? And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
Let me rephrase that. I don't know if the Pelicans. I don't think the Pelicans are the best place for Dylan Harper, but I think he's the guy that makes the most sense. Like out of all the top guys, I'm like, all right, Dylan Harper probably makes the most sense for the Pelicans because the Pelicans, it feels like for every single player, it's like, all right, this shit is kind of weird.
yeah,
All right, so we're taking Derek Queen at 7, eighth overall pick. We have the Toronto. This is probably the second team where it's like, yo, this is fucking. It's hard to pick for them.
yeah.
Um, damn, yo,
This is where I would have picked, Malawatch, but I do like
yeah,
the pick for the Heat. So,
yeah. Malawaj would have been perfect here. Um, this is a weird spot because this is another team that like Emmanuel quickly as your point guard. He's good, but if somebody like Dylan Harper was available, he's not stopping me from quickly. Is not stopping me from taking Dylan Harper. I would still take him. But you have RJ Barrett, still Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, Jakob Poeltl's like the weak spot where it's like we don't know if he's still gonna be there. He don't fit the timeline. Um, this is such a weird spot. I feel like I want to go a big man, but it's too early for a lot of these guys. Like
yeah,
Sorber, Wolf, Janai Broom is way too early for them. Forwards, I
and they
mean,
got Sorber at 20 already.
yeah. I mean, Asa Newell could be somebody I looked at here. Um, but just overall, it's like, yo, I don't want to go with a guard because you have quickly, you
I don't know.
have,
I feel like I would. That's just me.
yeah. I looked at Jeremiah Fears here, but it's like,
He's quickly somebody that because we've seen it in New York and even a little bit in Toronto, where you can bring him off the bench and the guy can come in at your one or two guard and just knock it down. So,
yeah. But I'm like, they're not gonna start Fears off rip. I
oh
just
no,
know it. um, damn, this is a weird spot. Kasparis, as good as he is, I don't like this situation for him just because it's like you got to fight with like Barrett, Barnes, and Ingram to get touches. Um, I think I'm leaning towards either Fears or Newell because I feel like Fears he needs the ball, but I feel like he could low key learn to play without it, and we've seen him on the ball all year. But this is gonna be a tough adjustment having to share with RJ, Scotty, and Brandon Ingram. It's gonna be a weird ass fit. Asa Newell is like at least he gonna try on the defensive end, rebound.
sure,
He's gonna try to shoot. Like I know some people's like the shooting upside with him is kind of there, but he's gonna play hard, play with intensity. Um, could you have him as that backup five? Um, Colin Murray Boyles is another guy. I think if Colin Murray Boyles was a little bit taller, I think I probably would have went with him just because the defense. Probably one of the best defensive players in the draft, and him being able to play alongside these other people. I wouldn't expect him to be. He wouldn't have the pressure of being the go-to guy. You could just
exactly.
have him come in. It's simplified. Be like, all right, yo, we just need you to get these stops here, and he has a little bit of Julius Randle to his game that you won't ask a lot of him to do, but he could still provide some type of stuff for you.
Yeah,
Um, I think I'm gonna go with Asa Newell. I'm not. I don't love the pick, but I think I'm gonna just do it because I feel like even the best guys actually fuck.
yeah.
Nah,
The
fuck
the
it. I
one I
can't go back.
love
I
the,
can't
the
go
one
back.
I
Fuck
love
it.
at this position the most if he wasn't taken is definitely Malawach.
Yeah,
Uh, I think he fits the team perfectly. He doesn't need, as you said, they already have several guys, because we can't forget about Brandon Ingram, right? That need the ball a lot, and Malawach obviously doesn't at all.
yeah,
So I think that fit right there could be perfect, and I think based on how the season's going and the actual lottery is going, I think that's a very high chance of happening. And I know Masai Ujiri is also very connected with the Africa program there. So
yeah. I didn't love the Newell pick, but I'm like,
I I, I don't love it, but I still like it. I probably like it a little bit more than Fears, and I think Newell is a guy that. I know he's listed as a power forward, but in the NBA, you could play center, especially at 6'11".
yeah, he's listed at 6'11". I'm like, yo,
Yeah,
that they need that.
yeah.
They need that. Next pick, I believe this is what are we at the ninth pick now?
San Antonio Spurs.
San Antonio Spurs right here.
Oh man,
I
this
have somebody in my head. Like I have the dream guy in my head right here, yo.
yeah, this is like one of the most fun teams for me. I kind of Justin probably already knows who I'm going to pick because we've kind of discussed this already before here. So since we already did, I'm just going to say it flat out. Got to pick Conka Nipple here.
Yes, let's
Or
go.
got to pick Conka Nipple here for this.
Yes, yes. I was
Um,
thinking the exact same thing, yo.
Yeah, anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge, huge Chris Paul fan. So like to root for all the teams he's on. But even then, I mean, just the Spurs team. I love watching. I love Wemby. I love the move that they made for De'Aaron Fox. And when I look at this team and I watch them play, because I do watch them play, the first thing I say to myself is spacing, spacing, spacing. That's what they need. And I don't know if there's a better spacer in this draft than Con Knipple. Somebody who, he kind of, I don't, listen, guys, I don't want to, you know, put crazy expectations on this guy. I'm just saying he reminds me, all right, of Klay Thompson in the sense that he really does not, how remember how Klay Thompson had 62 points and like five dribbles, I think it was.
Yeah,
This is somebody that I think is that type of microwave scorer and shooter who can get you. I mean, I'm literally just envisioning right now the pick and roll with De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama and the double team coming to Wembanyama and just Wembanyama kicking it out to Nipple every time wide open for three. And then commentators like, whoa, this guy is wide open here like what do you call it, like a Sunday morning, right? I mean, honestly. So I think this is if if draft day comes and Nipple is available and the Spurs do not select him, I'm
I'll
going to
be.
be confused.
Yeah, I'll be
Uh,
upset.
I'll be stunned and I'll be very confused too because I don't know. I mean, maybe Liam McNeely.
Hell no.
He has a little bit more size, but he's also, in my opinion, a much more inconsistent shooter.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like this is basically one of those. It's like a call from heaven, right? Like the light is shining right on Con Nipple for the Spurs on draft night. So this is my pick for them. I hope this turns into reality. I feel
yep.
like out of all the picks we've done today, this has one of the higher chances of being reality. So there you go. I mean, yeah, man, 14 with that stacked team. The guy still averaged 14 point 4 points per game with Cooper Flag. I mean, this guy over here, I feel like is a fit for practically any team. But there's certain teams that I feel like he's so much more ideal for and could just like turn the trajectory around like this. And I think this is one of them. The other team, if they were in the lottery, that I would say would be perfect, would be the Orlando Magic. But that's a different discussion. So,
Yeah, this is by far my favorite pick, and I hope this happens in real life. Cause Concanibal, a lot of people don't know. Well, I watched a hella Duke games this year.
of course,
He was basically our point guard this year because Tyrese Proctor, and I've said this on multiple of these draft videos. Tyrese Proctor kind of took that back seat and became that off-ball shooter and point of attack defender type of role. Um, so Conklin kind of took that duty of being our our point guard, and you saw it um in the ACC tournament when Cooper Flag went down. He took on that responsibility of not only am I going to be the primary playmaker, I'm going to be the primary scorer of this team. And I love the fit with San Antonio because it's like they're pretty good on guards. They have De'Aaron Fox and you
Absolutely.
have Stephon Castle. Um, I think Keldon Johnson's future is in question, but Con Knipple's a guy to me who, like you said, he could fit in on a bunch of different teams. He's a guy who doesn't I'm not gonna say he doesn't need the ball, but he knows how to play without the ball. So
Yeah.
you and he's a guy you could throw the ball to him and he knows what to do. He can make smart decisions with the basketball. You've
Yes.
seen him with that 2 man game with Kaman Malawach.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, yep.
imagine that with Victor Wembanyama,
Yep.
him being an off ball shooter, um, working off screens and getting passes from De'Aaron Fox or Stephon Castle, him just being able to read the defense, be smart. You see him in the tournament taking all these pump fakes, catching people, getting the and ones and stuff. And I love his size too, 6'7". If he was like 6'4", you would be like, okay, I don't know. But 6'7", well, some people think that's a lie. Like they think they're juicing his height up. But he has good size. I don't think he's not a horrible defender. Like he's a passable defender. But when you have Victor Wembanyama on the back line,
Oh yeah.
he's gonna clean up a lot of the mess. So I think this is a match made in heaven for the Spurs.
Absolutely.
Um,
And as you say, he's a high IQ player, and that's the Spurs
yeah,
mantra: high IQ. And
yeah,
he's somebody I would trust
yeah,
a lot.
yeah,
Probably more than most of these rookies.
yeah. 10th overall pick. We got the Portland Trailblazers. To
Oh,
me,
what a fun
this is
team!
the team that I want to get the number one pick the most because
Oh yeah,
they deserve it.
they
But
do.
they've
They
been
do.
playing so well that it probably won't happen.
Yeah.
Um,
It goes to show that they probably don't really need it because they're already pretty good and have a pretty good trajectory for the future. But yeah,
yeah, this is another kind of weird team because like you have a lot of people here and it's like, yo, what
yeah.
direction do we want to go? Um, I mean, you have DeAndre and Jeremy Grant. I don't see Jeremy Grant being here for that much longer.
Or eight.
Simons, yeah, Aiton either. Simons, we've been saying, yo, we got to trade him, not because he's bad, but just like we need to see him somewhere else and let the young guys go. Denny Aldia, who's having a career year, he's been hooping. I love that for him. Scoot Henderson, who's shown flashes in his second year, who's done really well. Donovan Clingan, one of the better defensive rookies. Shaden Sharp, who's shown a lot of potential. So this team has a lot. Um, I don't want to go Jeremiah Fears here because it's like a lot of guards already. Same thing with Kasparis.
And he's kind of, in some ways, the same. Not the same, but very similar to Scoot Henderson. Anyway.
Yeah, so like I wouldn't want to go guard here. Um, I mean, yeah, I think the person that's in my head the most, even though it might be too early to some, um, I feel like Liam McNeely wouldn't be bad for the Blazers at all. Just off the fact that like I don't know how much longer they consider holding on to Jeremy Grant and just the wings in question, but I think he's a guy that you could put him in there and it doesn't really take away from the other guys. Like you could have, or I don't know if Aiden will still be there, but what Klingon's been able to show you defensively, Liam McNeely on defense isn't the best, but with these athletes behind him, you could maybe see where he gets you. You hope the shooting is better. Like he is a good shooter, but has been inconsistent, so that's going to provide even more spacing that you don't want to turn down spacing at all with any team. I would go. I'd probably go with him here, um, just because like I don't the guards. I wouldn't want to do that because it'll be too redundant. Yegor Demon is just a bigger point guard. Um, Traore, I wouldn't do it. Jace Richardson, as much as I love him, I wouldn't do it. It's just they have an abundance of guards. The only other person I would probably think of is like maybe Fleming, Carter Bryant is more of like a project that I would take a chance on earlier. So I would probably go Liam McNeely here, even though I don't love it that much, but I just had to do it. Yeah. It gets kind of shaky after a while when the fucking cards shuffle and shit like that.
Absolutely. I think the Blazers are one team I'd watch out for to perhaps make a few trades on draft night. I think they're very well positioned to do that, especially if they do want to move up and, maybe try to get somebody like an Ace Bailey, right? Who I think it would be. That's another team that I wouldn't mind seeing him on. Would be really interesting to see like him and Shane Sharp. But yeah,
All right. I think
interesting.
this is the 11th overall pick. We have the Miami Heat right here.
Ooh.
I think I know. I mean, I know the guy. He's kind of perfect for here.
In my personal opinion,
There's
I don't know.
two ways you could go here, low key.
Yeah, one guy I like here. Um, I don't know if he get the burn right away, but I definitely think for their future and kind of giving it away once I say this, but pair him up with Tyler Hero there. I like Jeremiah Fears in Miami.
Yeah.
Uh, I like that fit there for him. I actually said that just oh yeah, there's a Heat fan at my job, and I was like, I think that would be a good spot for him to fall. Like, because this is a team where look, they already traded Jimmy Butler, so the way I see it is I know Pat Riley probably wouldn't want to see it this way, but I'm done in the sense of I'm looking for the future now. I mean, sure, I'll do whatever it takes to try to compete now, but this team needs to, look ahead, for the future, right? I mean, Tyler Hero isn't a dinosaur, but this team is not going to get any younger. So you have to look at what you have now, and Bam Adebayo is still a really good player. Tyler Hero, basically Bam Adebayo and Khalil Ware. Take up your front court there, and you don't really have to touch that. And that's one of the better front courts in the East. I wouldn't say it's the best. I like Cleveland's more, but Miami definitely has one of the better ones as Ware continues to progress. So I think if you have fears there, you have somebody that could definitely take a lot of ball pressure off of Tyler Hero. Who, look, I like Tyler Hero, but I think me and you could both say he is not a point guard. He is a
Nope.
shooting guard. Okay, and he is meant to be a shooting guard. Jeremiah Fears is a guy that, in my opinion, is the exact opposite. Is not meant to be a shooting guard. He's not even really too good of a shooter. Now he's somebody that I don't ever really expect to be like a 40% 3-point shooter, right? Maybe like 35, 36% at his best. And I do think he could get there. But when I'm drafting Jeremiah Fears, I'm not saying that he reminds me of Derrick Rose because he doesn't. But I'm looking at somebody that is Derrick Rose type, where this is somebody that can push the ball down. He's got the speed and the quickness, right? He's definitely got the ability to score inside and bring a lot of pressure there. And he's also a pretty good point guard and a very, in my opinion, underrated playmaker. So I just think this is a perfect fit for the Heat. Like I said, I don't want to. I like Murray Boyles as a player and prospect, but I don't want to touch him when they have that front court there. So I just think Fears is probably their best fit. And I would pick Jacques Shonis, but I think when you have Tyler Hero there, you want a little bit more explosiveness, and that's what Fears is going to give you.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would take Jeremiah Fears here. Um, just the explosiveness, the contrast between Tyler Hero, something they need, the upside with him, and I like the size. Pause 6'4", 180. Gave you 17 a game, and a lot of people don't know this. Oklahoma's in the SEC because before I think I forgot what conference it was in. Was it? Um, but they're in the SEC now, which was the hardest conference in all of college basketball. And a lot of some of his games were crazy, and I remember I texted you. I was like, "Who do you like more between Jace Richardson or Jeremiah Fears?" Because at one point to me it was kind of a discussion, but then after that UConn game, I was like, "Nah, never mind. This Jeremiah." Because I he went fucking crazy in that game, and I was just like, "Yeah, for him to be able to do that as a freshman against the reigning champs,
Yeah.
even though it's not the same team, like the same team on paper, like roster wise, that's still impressive to me." Um, he kind of just put the team on his back and did what he had to do. But I like this pick from Miami, and I think he'll thrive there. So 12th overall pick, we have Chicago Bulls. Wow. Um,
This is an interesting one.
yeah, this is interesting. Um, yeah, this is mad interesting because it's like, yo, what the fuck? They have too many guards, obviously.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to go Kasparis. And you see the rise since the Levine trade. You've seen what Josh Giddey's been able to do. Kobe White's been a hooper. Um, I think this is a team where you have to go like big or wing because Vucevic's future is in question. Don't think he's gonna stay there. Patrick Williams is just he's just there. Like I have nothing to say about him. Um, I think here
I
is
think
where
the
I would.
only wing that they have like solidified probably is Buzelis for their future.
Yeah, Buzelis, who's
Yeah.
having a pretty good rookie year since the Levine trade. Um, I think I think I'm gonna go with Colin Murray Boyles here.
Yeah, I would have liked that.
Yeah, the defensive upside. You see what he's been able to do. He gives you 8 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
Um, he's crafty. He shows you what he's been able to do offensively. I feel like he's gonna be a guy who's gonna benefit because I don't know if a lot of people watch South Carolina, but they was fucking garbage, and a lot of the time, Colin Murray Boyles had to just go crazy to keep him in games. But I think they were like 2-20 something.
Oh yeah, they
Like they
were
were bad,
one of the worst teams.
but like having him be able to play next to Josh Giddey and Lonzo Ball off the bench, he's gonna get a lot of good looks. Modest Buzelis is unselfish. I feel like he's a kind of guy where he could just be on the high post and throw that lob on the block to him. And defensively, they could be kind of scary. With Modest's size, you could hope to see some upside if they do decide to keep Patrick Williams. Can you be like, yo, can you at least lock in defensively and be that guy and fuck offense? Um,
yeah,
yeah. So I
yeah,
think
yeah,
so.
yeah.
I think this would be the pick for them here, and the upside is there too. That little tandem with Buzelis and Murray Boyles could be something too if it all works out.
Absolutely, I like that. I think people underestimate Buzelis' defense. Like, he's no Kawhi Leonard. I'm not suggesting that, right? But like, he's somebody that you know he's got the say he's 6'10", so he's got the size, he's got the length to, especially if some guards get down there to make some defensive stops. But he'd be more of the scoring wing next to Burley Boyles there. So yeah.
Yeah.
Next pick is the Dallas Mavericks.
Dallas Mavericks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, huh.
I have like one idea, maybe two, of where this could go.
So I don't know if I'm gonna pick him. I gotta reveal something to you, right? Before
Yeah.
when you were when you had the Blazers, if I had the Blazers, I would have broken the draft because there's somebody I like as a project a lot for that team, and I don't know if I want to pick him yet for this team because I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I know we've said this about a few teams already, right? Um, what do you call it? But this is another team that is really confusing, and it's simply because
Yeah.
of one man, and it's Nico Harrison. Where
Yeah.
like, this is a team that I feel like should not be in this position, especially with like because I mean I'm sorry, but three best players are what, at least 31, 32 years old, right? So I kind of want to look for the future with this team because I'm looking at the board and there aren't too many players I'm looking at and I'm saying, wow, yeah, this is a guy you could put here right now and they can, do some damage for you and whatnot. But hold on, just give me 1 second here.
Yeah, man. This is a confusing team to pick for.
Um, but as I was saying, I'll probably with this one. So what I was gonna say for the Portland Trailblazers, what I was gonna pick, I think I'm still trying to figure out his name. I've seen some film on him, and some people pronounce it differently.
I hope it's not Joan Behringer.
No, I really
Uh,
like Noah Sengway as a project. He's only
okay.
18 years old, coming out of France. Not the best shooter yet, but has a really nice jump shot that I think can translate and can get better at. He's somebody that he's kind of, in my opinion, like a jack of all trade. He's one of those guys where I know I don't expect him to be a Giannis, but he's like a Giannis prospect to me, where you take this guy with the expectation that he has great ability in a lot of different areas, and it's clear he hasn't maximized it yet, and you're hoping that he does, because if he does, he can be really good. But for this team in particular, with the position that they're at and everything, I don't expect him to start. I mean, probably wouldn't. But coming off the bench, I like Jace Richardson for this team.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say this is the one I was thinking about. I'm like, I would probably go with Jace here too.
Yeah,
I like it too because it's like, I mean, Kyrie's gonna be out till probably March of next year. I'm not saying that you should start Jace off rip, but it would be nice to have him learn under Kyrie because he's a guy who could play on the ball, could play off the ball, and you saw what he was able to do at Michigan State. He was a guy who was able to hit some tough shots, hit some big shots off the dribble. I think with more talented players, he's going into a situation where it's like, yo, I'm playing next to AD and all these centers, and I have Klay Thompson too. So he's gonna
yeah.
look a lot better. Um, he's really to me the definition of a combo guard because I see he looks to score, but I don't view him as like a scoring guard. Like Jaden Hardy to me is like he's a scoring guard. Like that motherfucker's a shooting guard. But Jace
Oh,
Richardson could you could give him the ball, he could play make, he could make decisions with the basketball, and he
I
could go
do
get you a
think he
bucket
was
if
a
need
really
be.
good scorer, though. Like I do
Yeah, he
think,
is.
yeah, I think it's hard to explain because I think he's somebody that especially around this area, has um, like probably one of the higher chances to be an all star. I'm not saying he will be, but I'm saying like based on the type of player that he is, right, and the type of guard that he is, can handle the ball, can shoot the ball well from three, free throw, and mid range. So that's very, for the next level, very important. So that's why I think he's a guy that, I agree with you. You could put him at the combo guard. I think if he was 6'5", 6'6", I'd definitely, I think he'd be much higher, probably a better player and prospect. But, he's a guy to me that plays a little bit bigger than his size. Like when they played, I think it was against the Auburn game. Like he hit some tough shot. I think, remember I texted you, he hit that one shot over Chad Baker Mazar, and I'm like,
Yeah,
he could consistently hit those in the league, like tough shots like that. And I don't, see too much of a reason why he can't, because Chad is the quintessential type of NBA size wing, right?
yeah,
I don't see how he can't be. He's averaging 12 points per game now. He can't be like a starter and get you like 15 points per game or something. So I really like this fit for him, but there's other teams probably a little bit higher in the draft that I'd prefer him and a little bit more.
yeah. So the final pick of this mock draft, we have the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I don't know if
Um
that's gonna happen. They're gonna make the playoffs.
yeah. And it's fucked up because I know this draft gonna end because I already have in my head who I would like for them, and it's gonna be fucked up because it's like, damn, Casparis isn't gonna go lottery, but it's like
Yeah, I
I
think it's
think
because
in
of
real
how
life
the
he would.
fell. Yeah,
You said what?
I, I think it's because of how the chips fell.
Yeah, it's because
But
how the chips fell, to be honest.
yeah,
But in the real draft, he would have been picked. It's
likely.
just a lot of these teams. It was like the way the chips fell. I was like, damn, I wouldn't want him over here. It was either I don't want him over here, or if it was a good fit, it was too high for him.
Yeah, like if the Rockets didn't have the Suns pick, that the Rockets are full of guards, then I would have put Jakuchonis there. But
Yeah, if the Suns was picking here, I would have been like, all
yeah,
right,
like
Casparis.
you got the Rockets with the Suns pick. I'm not picking a guard there, so it's like, you know,
Yeah, what the? Yeah, that was crazy. And
yeah,
that pick,
Suns.
what's the protections on that pick? Oh, it's
I don't
top
know.
10
Well, that pick is originally from. Well, yeah,
OKC,
it's
I
from the
think.
Suns trading with Kevin Durant from Brooklyn. So Brooklyn got the trade, and then I forget which trade they did with Houston for Houston to get the trade, but they did one with Brooklyn.
That was I remember that trade because that was like last year. I
Yeah,
think that was the same night as the Mikal Bridges trade because they wanted I think Brooklyn got their pick back or some shit.
yeah. I forget the entire trade, but I
It was
should have
some
looked
shit
that
like
up
that.
prior. Yeah,
Or it might I forgot how that trade went. Or maybe it was Houston getting their pick back from the Harden trade or some shit.
yeah.
So they could try to make oh yeah, because they were trying to trade for Kevin Durant at that time. I think that's what it was. But I see here, I think it's top 10 protected. Actually, no, that don't even make sense. Because that shit jumped up to two. I think it's
Yeah.
because there's swaps on it. That's why. So yeah,
Oh, yeah. It is a swap. I do remember reading
yeah,
that.
there's a swap on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phoenix was picking here. I would have took Casparis. But Atlanta, what they've been able to do this season, um, a lot of doubts on the Zachary Ricochet pick last year, but he has proven
Oh,
that
yeah.
he's a top rookie. He just had 38 last night, and he's been playing very well as of late. Um, and they really have they got their point guard. They have Jalen Johnson who went down.
They have their
Dyson
backcourt.
Daniels. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have their backcourt. Um, I guess the only shit in question is like, is Capella most likely is gone after this year. Onyeka, he hasn't gotten that opportunity. Me and Jordan always talk about it. We would love to see Onyeka get that opportunity
Of
and be the
course.
guy for them. And I think he could be that guy. He doesn't really get in the way of what they're trying to do. Um, I think the guy I'm gonna go with for the Atlanta Hawks is Rasheer Fleming out of St. Joe's. I know some people probably say it's redundant just because the power forward and you have Jalen Johnson, but he's a guy to me. He has he's NBA. He has an NBA body off rip. Like he's a guy who he can play today and he will step on the NBA court 6'9", 240, giving you 14 and 8, 53% of the field. And this is a guy who's improved as a 3-point shooter. If people don't want to buy into the 3-point shot, so be it. I'm a believer because he's a guy who struggled with it before, but now this season he's shooting 39% from three. So I'm putting faith in it, and to play with a guard like Trey Young with his athleticism, with Rasheer Fleming's athleticism, I think he could thrive in it. And just to have, I feel like you can't go wrong with having wings in the NBA. Like to have Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, and Rasheer Fleming out there at the same time, along with Zachary Ricochet. Trey Young
Yeah.
is probably like, this is my dream. People say I don't play defense. Well, I'm about to guard the weakest motherfucker on the court, and I have this entire back line along with Onyeka Okongwu to just clean up the dirty work. Um, I thought about going with a center, but I I like Onyeka. I think he could do it. And all these other centers, it's like I wouldn't take Danny Wolf because it's like he's not gonna want to play Trey Young basketball. Like and you kind of have to wait for them to learn that NBA game. It's tough for a center to learn that. Onyeka's already been seasoned. He's been sitting behind Clint Capella, so I think that'll be good. Carter Bryant is somebody I thought about, 3 and D wing with some upside. Um, but I just like Rasheer Fleming. It's kind of hard to deny the NBA readiness and just being able to collect those wings to put to pair next to Trey Young, because I think it could just be a nightmare that Trey Young is finally like, yo, I could just guard the worst motherfucker on the court and my guys will handle the rest. So I like this pick for them a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that pick too. I mean, I'll be honest. I think one thing with this draft is outside of like maybe Maluwatch and Derek Queen. Most of the centers here, there's a lot, and I like them, but I don't know if I would pick them that high. Like, I do think
Yeah.
Thomas Sorber could be somebody that could be a fairly decent fit for this team. I
Yeah,
just
I
don't
thought
know if
about him too.
I just don't know if I'd pick Thomas Sorber at 14. I'm just being honest because there's other players I like in that range that are better than him. But, I think that the problem with drafts is, you know, every team has a different agenda. Not every team is, concerned or worried about the future. Some teams want to win now, right? And,
Yeah.
because of that, it changes a lot of things up. I mean, I'm just looking at this draft board now and I'm laughing just looking at Trey Johnson at number 3 because it's so off putting. And let me tell you something. I think Trey Johnson is, if I had to list 3 players that just 3, right, that I'm certain could be an all star in this draft, it's literally the 3 that were picked top 3: Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper, Trey Johnson. And I like Ace Bailey a lot. I'm just a little bit more certain on Trey. You know how much I like him. So, yeah, but point is, I think with this draft, this is a very interesting draft because you have a collection of guys that are ready now. You have a collection of guys that are filled with potential, but you don't know if you could pick yet. And you also have, this is one of the few drafts where I look at a lot of these lottery teams, and I'm like, these teams are pretty complete in a lot of areas. Like you
Yeah.
see a lot of these lottery teams, and a lot of them have good backcourts already that I wouldn't even consider Fears or what do you call Kasparis, and like Harper maybe because he's just that good. But even him, like, if I'm the Chicago Bulls, for example, and I have a top 3 pick, especially with we all know Ron Harper's history with the Bulls, I would love to
Yeah.
pick Dylan Harper. But at
Yeah.
the same time, it's like, I mean, do you really need him when you have Josh Giddey playing well, Kobe White playing well, right? I mean, I guess if you want to trade one of them and say we just love this guy, right? You could do that, but I don't know. It's just there's so many things that can happen, and that's why I hope I'm right when I say this, and I feel like I'm going to be wrong. But I think this could be one of the more active draft nights in terms of trades that we've seen in a while because too many of these teams, Portland Trailblazers is another perfect example. I mean, they have so many things for their future. Like I feel like their future in many ways is kind of set, but they're also a little bit messy where, you can't have Aiton and Klingon, right? What do you call it? You can't have um, Sharp, Simons, and Henderson. All 3 of them want to start, and all of them are either a point guard or shooting guard. They're not forwards. So it's
Yeah.
like that's another really fun team that I expect to make a few trades here and there. And they still, we were talking about this the other day, they still have a very good chance, and I think they're going to do it to surpass the Suns in the standings, which would be absolutely embarrassing. And I'm kind of rooting for it at this point because I am. I've become, in one season I flipped like that, and I've become the biggest anti-Suns guy because the fact that they're even considering keeping Devin Booker, I would just trade everybody at this point for everything. They don't pick until 29, okay? Because they
Yeah.
have the Rockets pick. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what they get. But rounding out this draft lottery, I'm gonna read it off. Number 1 overall pick, the Utah Jazz take Cooper Flag. Second pick, the Houston Rockets take Dylan Harper. Third pick, the Philadelphia 76ers take Trey Johnson. Fourth pick, Brooklyn Nets take Ace Bailey. Fifth pick, the Wizards take VJ Edgecombe. Sixth pick, the Charlotte Hornets take Kamal Malawach. Seventh pick, the Pelicans take Derek Queen. Eighth pick, the Toronto Raptors take Asa Newell. Ninth pick, the San Antonio Spurs take Con Knipple. 10th pick, the Blazers take Liam McNeely. 11th pick, the Miami Heat take Jeremiah Fears. 12th pick, Chicago Bulls take Colin Murray Boyles. At 13, the Dallas Mavericks take Jace Richardson. And at 14, the Atlanta Hawks take Rasheer Fleming. So that's it for the mock draft. Vic, I want to say thank you for pulling up. You were the
Absolutely.
guy that I wanted to have on first to do this, and this was good. Hopefully, we'll do one maybe like after the draft lottery or something like that, and we could revisit this. But this was fun, bro. Thank you for pulling up.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, everybody, and obviously Justin and the whole J&J podcast crew out there and fan base out there. So yes, sir.
All right, bro. Thank you again. Take care. Hope the family is doing well, and I will
Absolutely.
see you next time.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro.